What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 161 of Park to Prem here with Town Town. It is Wednesday the 17th of June in real life. The Premier League is about to resume. I'm excited, and I assume everyone else is excited too to have football back on our screens. I say that, about 60% of you guys who watch these videos are from England, so I just assume that you're in the majority like me. But of course, if you're from elsewhere in Europe, elsewhere in the world, you may well have already been watching football over the past few weeks. But for me personally, it's a good day, and I think it's a good day for a lot of us. So anyway, we are back here with Town Town for your daily dose of Town action. Today we are going to be taking on Rangers in the Champions League. I thought this would be a good game to do. It's the fourth game of our Champions League campaign. Of course, Rangers are a team with a very large fan base. We do also have one of our players on loan at them, so a chance to see him in action. Blanford has been labelled as one of their best players, and in fact I now click on his profile and I realise he's out for the game with an injury. So okay, we've got to find a new angle for this game. Why is this game so... I mean, it's Rangers. It's a team with history, a team that, of course, had an interesting last decade or so when they were relegated way down to the bottom tier. And for them personally, they are looking to get a win here, which would put them potentially into Europa League contention with a few games left. As I said, if we win here, there's a pretty good chance that we just wrap up the group stage and know that we're going to be going through alongside Lyon, which would be nice. But anyway, since you were last here, we've played a lot of matches. It is the start of November, and I will tell you now, these matches have not particularly gone to plan. So we're going to roll through these, and then we're going to go into a little bit of a youth overview, have a look at some of the players who have been out on loan, how they've performed in the first kind of third of the season, I suppose. So anyway, of course, last episode we took on Man City. It finished 0-0 there. And as you can see, we started off with a good result against Fenerbahce in this game. We won 2-0. Holman with a thunderous free kick from range. What an incredible free kick this was. And then Mike Frost with a lovely, lovely goal to add to his collection. A collection that is steadily growing. He is slowly finding his feet. And yeah, a good 2-0 win. A good clean sheet. However, the next two games... We just haven't done well against North London clubs. The first of these matches was against Arsenal. We lost 1-0, courtesy of an 82nd minute penalty by Diallo. We just weren't at the races. We just weren't good enough, unfortunately, and that was much the same against Tottenham, where in this game, Jose Rui got them off to a flyer. He scored in the 47th minute, again from the penalty spot. So two games where we've conceded our only goals from the penalty spot. The good news was in this game, Shvetsov got us a 59th minute goal. The bad news, in the remaining half an hour, we were unable to find a second. Anyway, the next game we had against Rangers, a game that we dominated statistically, absolutely all over them in this game, which hopefully bodes well for playing them at home in the match today. However, it was one player with the goal, and it was Cesar with it. Of course it was. He's getting all the goals, the young Colombian. Yeah, he was lurking in the penalty area. First effort was blocked. Second effort could not be stopped. I feel like we're talking about him scoring every other episode at this point. He is looking absolutely tremendous. So much improvement that he has shown. Breaking into the Colombia national team, playing regularly, continuing to improve as well. If only he wasn't so one-footed, injury-prone and, well, had a competitive streak, I would be I am very, very excited about this guy, even with all those negatives, which is usually a sign that he's pretty blooming good. But a good result there against Rangers, and we followed that up with a few more good results, finally finding our form. The first of these was against Sheffield United, where Shvetsov, well, he got us off to a flyer. He continues his fine goal-scoring form in the league. He has been absolutely incredible to start this season. He has 13 goals in 11 games. That's not bad, is it, in the league? But yeah, we went one goal up in this game. Unfortunately, they then pegged us back, but in the second half, Claudio Holman was lurking at the back post, and then Mike Frost picked out by Vincent, an incredible pass by the left back to find him. And, well, we went to Bramall Lane. We came away with 3 points, which is what you like to see. In the EFL Cup, we continued to go marching on. However, it was courtesy of an unlikely hero, perhaps, Maticevic with the goals. Of course, Birmingham newly promoted to the Premier League this year, playing them in the Cup here. And, well, until the 60th minute, there was no breakthrough, but it was a lovely work goal. Maticevic with a nice finish. He then added another in the 69th minute. And while despite a late consolation in the 85th minute, we ran out victors. And 2-1 means that we are in to the quarter-final, where we're going to be taking on Arsenal. Yeah, the team that we just lost to in the league. I know. It's fitting, right? Anyway, most recently, after a little bit of a spell of not scoring as many goals as you love to see, we took on Bournemouth. Bottom of the league, a team we're expected to win. I'm not going to show the highlights for this game because we would be here for a while, but 6-0 it finished. Mike Frost with a goal, Shvetsov with 3, Andy Eric with 2. That is what you want to see. Unfortunately, with the draw and the defeat we've had, this is how the league table looks. Unfortunately for us, Man City just not slipping up yet. They have only conceded 3 goals in the first 11. Of course, their only slip-up came against us. Elsewhere, Manchester United have now lost 2 games against both Watford and Liverpool away from home. Whereas for us, we've scored a lot more goals than Manchester United, slightly more than Man City as well. But when you look at things on balance, those 2 games that we've slipped up in could prove very, very costly. We are now even with Liverpool. Chelsea, on the other hand, really struggling. Just 2 wins in their last 5 means that the team who finished second last year, I mean, we feel off the pace. They are way, way further off the pace. So I guess it could be worse. I mean, that's not really much consolation. It feels like we're going to have a pretty flawless season just based on what's happened in the very early stages. Anyway, today against Rangers, we are going to be playing a very strong team. I've been very, very impressed by Mike Froster's recent form. Of course, he got injured, which knocked down a load of his physicals. Interestingly enough, he's come back, he's got fit. His physicals haven't all improved to what they were before, but actually other areas of his game have. So he's now got 20 off the ball, which is absolutely incredible. I mean, I'm very excited about that. Hopefully his composure can go up a few points, although when you're almost as perfect as this guy is, it's going to be pretty difficult, it feels like, to get any real meaningful improvement, in all honesty. So anyway, before we get into today's game and we run through the squad, I do want to talk about how we've been getting on in terms of development at the club, because we had a few players out on loan, a few players knocking on the door for the first team. Alex Boyo still linked as our kind of big hot prospect for the future. I mean, he looks absolutely incredible, doesn't he, at 18? Has been playing a decent amount of football for the youth team. You can see he's got a 7.74 average rating from centre mid. The more I look at him, the more I'm just thinking, mate, if you can improve your vision, you are going to be so good at deep line playmaker for us. And if not, potentially even as a box-to-box midfielder or as a Mazzala, to be honest. Still a lot of improvement needed in his game, that there is no doubt, but he is so incredibly young. And, if you believe what my coaches think, he's got a lot of potential to fulfill. So we're going to be keeping a very close eye on him. But of course, we have had a lot of players out on loan. So I feel like it's worth talking about some of the players out on loan and how they're doing. So let's start with Hater Louise. This guy, a bit of a weird one. He was listed once upon a time as our big key player. However, back in 2034, he broke his ankle and was out for 4 months. He's now on loan in Serbia because he hasn't got a work permit. He's got 11 goals and 5 assists in 12 games. He looks absolutely incredible. Of course, the big negative is that he is now 20 years old. He only turned 20 last month, so he's still relatively young. Thing is, he's got a lot of potential, and I'm hoping he's going to be a bit of a late bloomer. So far, though, very, very impressed with what we've seen. I know he only has 11 finishing. I would love his 13 composure to be a little higher as well. But there's still hope for him yet. We're going to be keeping a close eye on him this year. And then going into next summer, we will reevaluate. We will decide, are you ever going to play in the first team? And if the answer is no, then we will simply look to try and sell him whilst he's still 20 or 21 years old. Because selling a player when they're that old, you can often get a little bit more money than they're necessarily worth in current ability. Just because the AI and the teams that are scouting him look at the potential. They still view him at 20 as being able to fulfill that. And whilst he might be able to do that, let me get my words out, it's not a guarantee by any means. Anyway, Ivan's had a very, very good start to the year. He's got 8 assists and 3 goals in all competitions. This guy, I am keen to see develop. He's been playing a lot of first-team football, which is obviously great to see at Crystal Palace. You can see here he is a Serbian international. He's very, very technical. He's very, very vision-based. He's only just turned 20, so again, another player who's extremely young. Wish his composure wasn't a massive gap in his game, but he's got all the player traits you could really want for a playmaker. And obviously great to see him playing some regular football at Crystal Palace. There's a few players here who I could talk about, but the reality is they're having good loan spells at the clubs they're at. Are they ever going to play in the first team? Absolutely not. One player, though, who is having an incredible loan spell is this guy, Martino. We talked about this guy as the player who he hadn't improved like I needed him to improve, and he was going to Gladbach, and I was kind of keen to see how he would get on. He's played 10 games in the Bundesliga, 4 assists, a really good average rating for a player who's only 18 years old. And I'll tell you what, Borussia Mönchengladbach are giving him opportunities, and he is taking them. His improvements have been very, very good, which I absolutely love to see. Obviously, his mentals and defending have always been a strong part of his game, but it's particularly the physical development that I'm very keen on. So, yeah, the loan spell for him is really having the desired effect, which is exciting. If you're wondering about Bubalo, what is becoming of him, he's not doing too well in the Champions League. In the league, however, 11 starts, 4 goals. Not banging them in perhaps as I would hope, but he is continuing to improve the Croatian international. Of course, we've got him and Stevie Norman out on loan. We're going to be looking at both. I feel like only one will make it into the first team. It's a bit like a reality show, really. There's one spot, they're dicing and battling it out for it. We'll see who ends up getting it, going into the end of next year. And while speaking of Steve Norman, playing in Serie A, he has slowed down a little bit as of late. He had a really tremendous start. But what I will say is he's continuing to play for England really regularly, and he's improving a lot. And Juventus are continuing to give him game time, the 22-year-old. He is having a very, very good loan spell, exactly why we loaned him out. Just improvements across the board, now labelled as an elite striker. Yeah, this is the loan spell that we needed him to have. I need him to follow in Cancina's footsteps and give me a headache when he comes back. I want him and Bubalo to come back into the team and put me in a situation where I really, really don't know what to do. And we'll see if that ends up being the case. Anyway, one final player we'll have a quick look at is Guy Ford. Of course, a product of our academy of a few... Actually, no, that's a lie. He's not a product of our academy. We bought him for 15 million. It felt like he was from our academy because we signed him when he was 16. But no, we did sign him up, I have to admit it. £15 million paid, definitely a risk. We've brought him in, he's gone on loan to Burnley in the Premier League this year, and he's played 10 matches in the Premier League at the age of 18. Probably a little bit too young to be playing in the Premier League. I would argue he's not quite ready. However, Burnley are a newly promoted team, if I'm not mistaken. They are finding their feet. You can see here he's playing in front of 3 centre-attacking midfielders. He's not banging in the goals as perhaps you would hope, but what I will say is he's improving a lot. And he's getting game time at a level above what he's probably ever ready to play at, which can be bad. It can also be good. I think at the moment we're reaping the benefits of it. Obviously, we have to monitor his performances. If he continues to put in these kind of numbers, there's a fair chance that he won't be Burnley's regular striking starter come the start of the year. But I don't know. He's listed as their key player, bizarrely, so maybe I'm just really underselling him. At 18 years old, though, tender age and to be leading a Premier League line is pretty exciting, if you ask me. So anyway, that's a little bit of a recap of where our players are at. You can see here, Vincent, 5 assists for the year from left-back. He has had a fantastic start to his time at the club in the 9 appearances he's made as a starter. In terms of average ratings, it's Kaiser and Shvetsov leading the way. Kaiser also with a really good amount of assists. He has been top drawer, really been extremely good from set pieces. And, well, you can see here, just continuing to improve. The fans are really starting to take to him. In the goal-scoring charts, the second highest goal scorer has 8 goals so far in 11 games. Shvetsov has 13. So, yeah, he really is kind of taking things to a new level, Andre, which is very, very exciting indeed. Anyway, in terms of team for today's game, this is the team that played the last game that we played, if I'm not mistaken, which seems a little bit mad because I did drop Mike Frost. He's been putting in some good performances in training. He did also get a goal against Bournemouth previously. So I think with that in mind, we're going to bring him in for today's game. I think I am going to move Holman back and bring in Andy Eric as well. Andy Eric got 2 goals against Bournemouth in our most recent game, so he's been showing really good signs. And in fact, when you look across the entirety of the team here, the average ratings for the majority of players has been extremely, extremely good. We have rested the players going into today's game, so we are ready, fit and raring to go. And well, let's see how we get on against Rangers. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to play all the way to the Manchester United game for today's episode, so rather than leave you guys without an episode and go to the Manchester United game, I figured today, it would be a good chance to go through some of the matches because it wasn't exactly the kind of results that we should be particularly proud of, the draw and the defeat namely, but also just a case of, I thought you guys would want an episode today, so why not bring you this game that could see us guarantee a Champions League spot. Anyway, set piece after a minute. Kaiser, we've bigged up his set pieces. What can he do? Frost was under it. He's claiming he was pushed. The ref is going to VAR. He's given the penalty. And I believe it's going to be Shvetsov over it to continue on with his goal-scoring ways. Frost winning this penalty. Can his partner in crime finish it? Of course he can. What a penalty that is. The keeper goes down the right way. Shvetsov shows no mercy. 14 goals for the season for him now. Hasn't really been scoring many goals outside of the Premier League. A lot of that is because we've just been rotating him out of the squad when it's not Premier League games. But yeah, lovely goal from him there from the spot. That should ease some nerves because against Rangers previously, we scraped by 1-0. Vincent, long throw, Holman on the volley. Oh my word. This could be bad if you're a Rangers fan. You may want to cover your eyes, Rangers fans. If you've got any young children watching this video, it might be time to take them into the other room. Claudio Holman has scored. Shvetsov with the header. Vincent with the secondary assist. Now, if you're not a hockey fan, an ice hockey fan that is, you might not know what a secondary assist is. I've definitely talked about this before. But in ice hockey, you track the players who give the pass that leads to the assister, which I quite like as a thing. That should definitely be a thing in football. There are unsung heroes that definitely play a role in goals, but aren't always the killer pass or the final pass. Give those people the credit they deserve. Mateus Aurelio launches it forward. Frost is under it. There you go. Is that his first goal in a live com? If it is, that is very concerning. But it's his 5th for the year. He's finding his feet. And Mateus Aurelio with an assist. He's back to the Mateus Aurelio of a season and a half ago. It's lovely to see. We've missed you, Mateus. I feel like he's seen Vincent at left back and he's gone, oh yeah, that's what I'm meant to be doing. Anyway, Markovsky on a booking. We're going to tell him to calm it down a little bit. This has been about as good a first half as I could have hoped for, to be honest. This has been pretty crazy so far. Palmer was about to tell the players I was far from pleased. But at 3-0 up, I should probably praise them. Apparently our players are looking complacent. Let's demand more. Less of that complacency. Andy Eric on the beach. Maticevic, you played very well a few games ago. You can come on for the man who's looking complacent. I do not want us to let this slip. I don't want passengers in our team here. You've all gone complacent. I'm going to keep demanding more, boys. Every time you go complacent, every time that hallowed red text comes up, I'm hitting demand more. Anyway, Vincent to Shvetsov. Flicks it on. I think Frost is offside, although I say that. He's absolutely not. And then Markovsky, the centre-back, who we send forward for these kind of set pieces. He's lurking at the back post. He scores with, well, not the most thunderous of efforts. I will completely be honest with you. He's just tapped it in on his left foot. But, I mean, it's a goal. Love's got a hand on it, but, well, he's not going to love to see that back again. It ends up in the back of the net. It's 4-0 against Rangers. I now have to hope that Lyon are beating Fenerbahce, because if that is the case, or even if I believe they draw, I see here Lyon are winning 3-0, we're through to the Champions League knockout rounds, everyone. And with that in mind, we can probably make a few subs. I'm going to bring in Cancina. And I'm also going to bring in Nico. And some people picked up on this. I was impressed by the observiveness. Is observiveness a word? As in how observed, not... I'm recording this video at 8:20 AM. Please help me. How observive... Jack, the word observed... Why can I not say that word? Why can I? Help me, everyone. Nico is playing right back. Some of you noticed it. There we go. Different phrasing. And I am training him to play right wing back. It's a position he's uncomfortable with. But if he's going to be second choice left back, I feel like we might as well make him second choice right back as well. 10 minutes here, a bit of game time in that position is going to help him. Man, why are words so hard? Why can I not speak at 8 AM? I don't know. I'll tell you can do stuff at 8 AM. Holman, 5th goal of the season for him. Not a bad signing for £110 million. He is getting a lot of goals from midfield, which I guess when you pay over £100 million for, you're somewhat expecting. Also good to see Nico get the assist. He pulls this ball up back really intelligently, actually. Could have easily just ran down the byline and then pulled it back. Instead, he just takes a touch. The defenders kind of anticipate him to make a run. And, well, he's able to pick out Holman at the edge of the box, lurking. And, well, that is going to be the last bit of action we see. What a performance that is. 5-0. The kind of performance that we should probably be expecting. But having only beaten them 1-0 previously, there was a little bit of a question mark. And now you have to wonder, is this now us finding our feet? Is this now us, finding out where we are? You can see Bubalo, a goal and an assist for him against Fenerbahce. You love to see it. Holman with 2 goals to his name. He has had a very, very good start to his time here at the club. Look at that development. I mean, look how good he is. Absolutely incredible. Has been playing at centre mid and as a Mazzala, but also at centre attacking mid as a playmaker. I think he's definitely found his calling at centre mid. That said, of course, we are rotating the team so heavily. If we just look here at my match day squad stats view, you can actually see the minutes that players are playing here. We're giving players a really good amount of time. Even players like, well, I guess a good example is Maticevic. Yes, he's only started 4 games. Still played over 600 minutes. this season, which is not an insignificant amount at all. And yeah, that's something that we're going to, continue to do. Just giving players as much first-team opportunities as we can. I'm really rotating things. In fact, you can see here, every single player on the bench has started at least 4 games this season. So, yeah, make no mistake, we are rotating things. That is going to hurt us from time to time, but I'm hoping over the course of the season, particularly when we're at the end of the year, and of course, just competing in every single competition, we're still going to be fresh-legged. Our players aren't going to be too fatigued. Anyway, in terms of when we're going to be back next time, we're going to come back for the game against Manchester United. We will probably partner that up potentially with the game against Watford. They are in 7th. They are flying very, very high, and I feel like that as a double header could be quite an interesting couple of games, particularly because, well, if we can beat Manchester United, we would leapfrog them into 2nd place. I guess that the big thing for us now is hoping and praying Man City under Zidane slip up at some point. They've got some tricky games coming up against the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, Man U and Chelsea. So it does actually look like they've had I don't want to say an easier run of games, but we've probably been one of the few true tests they've had so far. Maybe some of our rivals can do us a favour in the coming weeks. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I am now going to go and get ready for work. Hopefully by next episode I can speak English again, including the word observe. I'm going to leave it here. I've discovered a word I can't say. It's a disaster. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. I'm out. Observiveness. Observiveness.